Welcome back to Let's Play Soulblazer. I'm your host, Brickroad, and we're going into the final dungeon now. The 6 stones we've collected. I think this scene might be more meaningful if you could somehow reach the Aurora without all 6 stones, but I mean, you literally can't make the jump up there on the world map until you've cleared the Magrid Castle with all the stones. So, we're going to the world of evil, though. We need the Phoenix's help. In order to get the Phoenix, we have to collect all 3 red-hot items, 2 of which we already have, because we've done the requisite backtracking. There is no town and no souls in the world of evil. Instead, there's just a bunch of these nerds. And we are going to try to not die in the world of evil, because the more gems I have, the better. Okay, we're not destroying that statue, clearly. And you can see the Recover Sword doing some work here. We are going to kill you, though. Because we aren't going to be able to get all the emblems, because... Which emblem am I missing? A, B, C, D, E. We're missing emblem F, and I have no idea where it is. We're not going to be able to get an item that lets us infinitely cast magic, but I also don't think we're going to need such an item. I think we'll be fine without it, as long as we make sure we get a bunch of gems. I mean, look at all the experience we're getting in here. You get buco experience in the world of evil. Like, I'm pretty sure we'll clear... There are monsters later where we can clear 10,000. We gotta get a treasure box, though, because we still are missing 1 sword and 1 armor and 1 spell, all of which we will get here in the world of evil. But 1,100 gems should be enough to complete the game with, provided we don't die before then. So we're gonna be very careful to not die before then, if that makes sense. And I love the palette cycling animation on these fiery walls in the world of evil. It's like, yeah, it's the world of evil. What were you expecting? Of course you're going to have palette cycling fiery walls. Palette cycling, if you don't know, is a form of animation where the sprite is not actually moving at all. It's not in motion. It's just cycling its palette, making the colors change in a pattern that makes it look like give the appearance of motion. And this was a very... this was used quite commonly in Atari 2600 games. So, when I was a kid, I saw a lot of games use this. So I always get like a slight tinge of nostalgia when I see that happen in sprite-based games on other consoles or on computers or such. Ah, I found the magic spot to stand for those bugs. Just clear away that gargoyle statue there. No, we need to not... You know what I mean? We just not get killed here. Get all the gems we can. Come on back. There we go. A little further back, right here. That's a good spot. Just juke the gargoyle statues. Kill the Minotaur. Good to go. I think only we're gonna get that gem in time. Ah, but there's our first... There's our first god tile, and we are going to use that. It's only there to get that treasure box, which we're going to get right now. No more monster layers in this section of the world of evil. So we're going to double back. In fact, I think we have to double back. I don't think we can push on and get to the 3rd god tile. There's a section at the very end of this game, in the last area of the world of evil, where if you try to go into it without the proper protection, you die immediately. So we'll hit this up. This is going to be the sword? No, the ball. Okay, so we have all 3 red-hot items, mirror, ball, and stick. We actually don't want to unequip our super bracelet, though, which means a little bit more backtracking. Let's move. And again, we can't move down to the Mountain of Souls. We have to go all the way around. Even though it's right next door. Because if you recall, the king of the snail people here said, hey man, I love that shirt. Where'd you get that? Did you get that on sale at Penny's? I went the wrong way. No, he actually said if you bring me the red hot ball, the red hot mirror, and the red hot stick, I can give you the Phoenix magic. Let's go. In order to get this, we got to get these little spinning grandmas. They do their awesome little grandma dance. Alright, calm down, ladies. Calm down. We have the magic of Phoenix now. Beautiful. Uh-oh, but Death Toll moved into position. Yeah, see? So wait, if we hadn't called the Phoenix, like, would Death Toll have not moved into position? He would have just been out of position the whole time? There's no space in Soul Blade, but there is a space in Soul Armor. And this might be as good a time as any to point out that this game is not called Soul Blazer in all regions. I think in Europe it's called Soul Blader? Or maybe that's just the Romanji for what it's called in Japanese. I'm not actually sure. But yeah, Soul Blader, because as you can see, he's the guy with the Soul Blade once you get to this point in the game. Back to the world of evil. We still have 0 monster lairs in this section. I think there's 3 sections total. So we got the red hot item from the first section. We're going to get the Soul Blade in one section and the Soul Armor in one section. The Soul Blade is the most powerful sword you may use, I think is the actual description. And the Soul Armor will protect us from... There's a constant HP drain effect in the last area of the game. Oh, yeah? You know what? Even if I did have all the emblems, I still don't think I would use... I think you get a magic bell, I think is what you get. I still don't think I would use it because I'd have to unequip my super bracelet. I think it's better to just stockpile gems. That's the rationalization I'm going to go through since this is not a... Since this is no longer a hundo playthrough, I'm going to rationalize it by saying it's a stylistic choice because I don't want to unequip the invulnerable bracelet. How many are here? Oh, only 4 total in this area? That seems low to me. Okay, we're all the way down here then. Alright, Bug, you need to calm down. Right here is a good spot to step, I think. That was it. And yeah, these blocks here... Oh, you need the Soul Blade to damage these, I think. Right? Is that what we're doing? We're letting them go up and then come back down? I guess we have to. Because we can't actually get... Ooh. Yeah, we can't actually get north of there yet. We're just going to have to let these Clax tiles go by. You know what I mean? Clax? Remember that game from the 90s? It was an arcade game called Clax. I think it was a Commodore version of that. That's kind of weird. Like, it was trying to be the second coming of Tetris, but it just wasn't. So there's the armor. Enables you to walk in space. I love it. Guys, we're going to walk in space, and it's going to be glorious. So the Soul Blade should just be laying around in the next area, and once we have that, we can use the only other magic spell worth using in the game, the Phoenix. Ah, yes, this is where I did a lot of level grinding as a youngster. Only 2 monster layers in Dazzling Space. There's just not a lot to this level. Tiny little treasure box with some gems in it. Yeah, we can... There we go, that's a good spot. Come on, bugs. I'm the Orchid Man today. Oh, God, I don't want to say that out loud. We're having a bug problem in our house. We're having a problem with ants and cockroaches. And it's not because we're, like, gross people or anything. I mean, we are gross people, but this is not... That's not why we're having the issue. It's just... We bought a house 3 years ago, and we haven't had any pest control done at all. And when we bought the house, my dear lady wife, for all of her virtues and beauty, did not understand that in the state of Florida, the reason we didn't have major bug problems in our apartments we lived in was because the apartment paid for pest control. And now that's something that we have to do now. The strongest sword that thou mayest use, the Soul Blade. And yeah, we got one monster lair remaining in the game. We don't actually get any souls for these monster lairs. These are just bonus monster lairs. I guess these are monster lairs. Oh, I can kill these things now. Oh, no I can't. I can now, I think. Yeah, now I can actually swing the sword. You gotta be level 24 to actually swing the Soul Blade, and I wasn't yet. But yeah, you could go ahead and really easily kill these things. Like, really easily, and it's just a free 400 every time, or 400, free 4,000 every time. Remember as a kid, I wanted to see what the max level was, and I don't think I ever hit it because it's just so far away. But I think I got my health meter to turn yellow if you grind long enough. That should give me my... It sure does. Final save point. Let's go ahead and save the game one last time, guys. I do wish to continue, and I'm going to take the battle to death toll now. That's the wrong spot. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and equip the Phoenix spell. So yeah, 2 gems each time I cast the Phoenix spell with the Super Bracelet equips, and I've got 1,300 gems. There's no collision on the cliff side here, so these stairs are kind of useless, but hey, you know what? I'm not going to judge. So let's see what Death Toll has to say for himself. Hi, man. I heard that you moved into position. He actually says some edgy stuff here about how, like, life is suffering and whatnot. And he's gonna show, like, all creatures yearn for death because life is suffering. It is pretty dark. And he's gonna show me what it means by turning into a giant monster that creates pillars of blue fire, which just drop gems. So yeah, the bell really is completely unnecessary. I need to try to not get hit by the fire. The lasers, there's not really a lot you can do, but the fire, I want to try to not get hit by. If I can. And I'm pretty sure we have a medical herb. Oh, you know what? I didn't actually check. Do I have a medical herb? I do, so we should be fine. Once we chop all this dude. He doesn't even have a health bar. That's how badass Mr. Death Toll is. No health bar, even. Oh, I forgot there was kind of a safe-ish spot where his flames would just go around you. Let's see if I can just stand in there. I think we kind of got there. We will be switching to the medical herb here. You know, let's do it right now. No, I can take one more hit before medical herb times. There it goes. Back to Super Bracelet. Yeah, see, my health is so high that my health is starting to turn a lighter blue. So you will eventually go to teal, to green, to yellow. And I think yellow is the highest. I don't know what numerical value that is. You actually get... Oh yeah, I guess you can see numerical HP. 54 up there with my max. That makes sense-ish. I guess every tick is an HP. If there's a good way to dodge these constant lasers that his candles are throwing out, I don't know what it is. So, I just hope that we have enough HP to last the rest of the battle here. We sure do. And we have 880 gems to spare. I like how it fills up your life, too, at the end. Like, congratulations, here's your all your health back. I thought it was a world that exists in the aurora in the sky. Ah, so that's the key to being like God, I guess. Is once you understand every possible thing about every configuration of existence, you can understand the mind of God in this world. And one of the hallmarks of these quintet games is very prolonged ending sequences, which I quite enjoy, I suppose. You get to do a whole full tour of the world. I can't speed up the text, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, you know what? You're very welcome, King Magrid. You're very welcome, guy who did all of this. I actually, because I've been doing the actual money count in post, I don't actually know what the gold total King Magrid got up to is, and I won't know until I edit this in post, but I'm going to take a guess. And I'm going to say it's somewhere in the vicinity of
170
gold pieces. So, which is a dollar amount of about
66,300.
if you take the math in the original, the first episode, and it's at all correct. I mean, I guess a great town costs
66,300
dollars in this world. So, okay, you can maybe step down, maybe resign, okay? Maybe resign, let somebody else take over and rule the world, because you clearly can't be trusted. Clearly not. The statues will make everything right. People can... When it's raining, people can shelter under the the giant nose on Dr. Leo's statue. How wonderful. I feel like more cats should have shown up to say hi to me. Is the doll really a tool? Like, does she have like a wrench and a screwdriver and a Swiss Army knife that come out of her back? Here's a game for the NES. A really fun game called Clash at Demon Head. I do have a Let's Play of it. If you want to search around on my channel, you'll find it. But the very end of the game, the heroes are having a conversation, much like this one. And one of them says, we must use science correctly. And that's the moral of soulblazer as well as Clash at Demon Head. We must use science and all inventions correctly. Oh, the two dancing grandmas died while we were gone. That's too bad. That's really a shame. I loved those spinning, spiraling grandmas. You bad-mouthing the king within eyeshot of the king? Isn't that which guy you've thrown in jail the first time? I'm not sure how much this whole value of life argument... Like, I don't know how much water this carries with me. I feel like a year is not enough to have a meaningful life. Like, you can't experience... Even if you become... Like, even if your cognition wakes up, if you're in this... Like, we'll say this species, they hatch, and then 2 days after they hatch, they have full cognition and awareness of their place in the world. And then they have, like, 350 days before they die of old age. I know I could check my Homo sapiens privilege, but I find the value of your life can be measured at the length of your life to be a little disingenuous, because one of those creatures that lives 2 years instead of 1 year has had a way more fulfilling life than a creature who only lived 1 year, because he spends the first year, he does all his snail jockeying, he gets all that out of the way. He, he cranks out his kids and his grandkids, and then he has a whole other year to just kick back and smoke mushrooms. I feel like ActRaiser did kind of the same thing, as it went around, had a very similar ending to this game. They went around to all the different places that you visited and all that you unlocked, all the different towns that you built over the game, and each one had like a little slice of philosophy pie that you got served. And I'm not a big fan of philosophy pie in general, but some of the philosophies that get espoused here, like, oh, using science wrong makes the tools sad. I think the phrase was, as long as there are inventions in the world, there will be evil. So all people have to do is stop inventing things. Go back to the Stone Age. See, this seems to imply that when you die, like, your ghost still does something. We've established there is an afterlife of some sort in this world. So you live for a year, and then you die, and then you just enjoy your afterlife. Like, the length of their life doesn't have any bearing on the level of fulfillment they enjoy. Although, if Dr. Leo had been one of those guys, he wouldn't have had time to invent a machine that summoned the world of evil, so maybe it cuts both ways. I remember as a kid, and still as an adult, I actually really, really liked this scene where you speak with Lisa again in her dream world, where you met her the first time in the first dungeon. Because this dungeon in the game, I mean, they don't really reuse any tile sets in this game. All of the dungeon areas are very distinct. They have their own setting, their own tone, their own feel. But this one here is the only one that really feels like it's of practical use to the humans that live nearby, because you have this kind of mechanical situation underneath the town where they can harness the power of this water to, I don't know, crush their grain and grind their bones into bread or whatever. I would say no to this, but they literally don't give you no as an option. I feel kind of railroaded here. I feel like my agency is not being respected. But no, I really like this return to the first dungeon in the game, because you fire up this game and you're in this dungeon inside of 2 minutes. There's just not much of an intro. There's not much of a wind-up. It's just you fire up the game and you're in that dungeon. So that's your first exposure to the game, is walking the docks and the water wheels of that initial dungeon. So going back there at the end of the game, I thought was very poignant. As a kid, that had an effect on me. And then following up with this music, just some good old emotional chip tunes. Now, one thing I do know about the Japanish version of this game is I think the text and stuff is basically the same. The story and everything is basically the same. You go through all the same areas, you get the same kind of items. I don't think the gameplay changed at all. Maybe like little minute tweaks that don't really matter that much. They changed the name from soulblazer to soulblazer because it's equally nonsensical. I guess it just sounds cooler because the letter Z is awesome. I should point out that I've never actually played the Japanese version of this game. I'm only exposed to it because I've watched speedrunners play the Japanese version and because I've perused this game's entry on the Cutting Room Floor, which is a website that has stuff that gets cut out of games or just changed between regions in a game. And Lisa's face is redrawn, and it's the only major graphical change I'm aware of, because she's very like late 80s, early 90s looking, like windswept hairstyle, just wistfully looking off into the middle distance. Like, you could imagine this character being in like a late 80s Saturday morning cartoon. In the Japanese version, obviously, she just has the standard anime face. And neither of the faces, if you Google up what her face looks like in the Japanese version, like, neither of her faces look right. This one never looked right to me, because the little I guess the term uncanny valley doesn't really apply here, but it's so clearly not what's supposed to be there. But then when I've seen the Japanese version, when I've watched that ending of the game, that didn't look right either, because that's not what I'm used to. So, and the pattern on her blouse that she's wearing is very reminiscent of the pattern of, like, the floor tiles in her father's evil painting world. Maybe he was a multi-talented man. He was also a fashion designer, so... I do wish that, because there was a little side quest in King Magrid's castle where we had to free the troubadour who would play a song, and he tells you the story about Lisa, and he calls the song, I think it's actually called Ode to Lisa. Having that song play during the Magrid chapter kind of takes the wind out of the sails at this point. It's not like a fantastic song or anything, but it's very quaint for the area. You gotta remember, this is a launch, close to launch, like early first year SNES game. Robert Gerald, you did your best with the English text, but you never learned how to spell all right. And... yeah, I think this song would have more of an impact if this is the only time in the game you hear it, over the end credits. So I do kind of like the bittersweet ending here. And I also wish there was a little more to the world of evil. I wish there was a little... It's very unchallenging, it's very, very short. It's basically just grab these 3 treasures, go talk to the Snail King, come on back and fight the boss. And the boss is really just mash, mash, mash. You can make the boss easier just by leveling up on those Klax blocks if you want. But overall, I hope I was able to impress upon all of you why Soulblazer is such... one of my favorite SNES games, and it's one that I go back to quite a lot, actually. I'd revisit this one surely more than any of the other games in this series. I feel like every year or so I'll either replay this or ActRaiser, but never both at the same time, because they both kind of have such an overlap. And I think it was correct to play this after going through Crystallis. Playing this in Crystallis kind of back-to-back was a good exercise, because the games are almost mirrors of each other. They're so similar in so many ways, but their differences are excellent examples of what makes each of these games unique. I could see why modern gamers wouldn't be able to play this game now. I can see why people might say it doesn't age very well. I guess I could even see why people would prefer its sequels, Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma, but even if Soulblazer is a you-had-to-be-there game, I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I had it when I was a kid. I'm glad I got to explore this world at a time in my gaming career when I wasn't cynical or jaded yet like I am today, where I still cared about exploring every nook and cranny of a world and talking to all the NPCs over and over again and spending hours in each level. I'm glad I had it at that time in my life, and Crystallis too, and for the same reasons. So we're going to throw away our immortal god memory, because there's too much pressure. We got to learn about all things in all existences. That's too much. Turn me into a human, give me working genitals, send me back down to Earth. Let me keep one of those cool swords. Just, like, I don't really care which one. Maybe the Zantetsu sword. That's the coolest sounding one. It's me, baby. I'm back. I have no idea who I am, or who you are. I also remember as a kid, Lisa's barely in this game. Don't you remember me? No, because God erased my memory, because God's a dick, it turns out. You know what? God didn't have to make Death Toll or the World of Evil in the first place. But yeah, Lisa features quite a lot in the ending, but she's not actually that big of a character in the game. Like, she doesn't really do that much. You talk to her a little bit in the beginning, and then she comes back at the end, and the second time you meet her, she's head over heels for you. Even that's not right. Even that all right wasn't correct. Yeah, we can. Can we start by slaughtering that goat? Because I'm hungry. That's not correct. No, Turbo was not a goat. That's... Oh, I guess that's a little interesting. Like, now that I'm just a human, now I don't have any god stuff inside of me anymore. I can't talk to animals anymore. Now animals only sound like what they sound like. What if I didn't come back for Lisa? What if I came back for Turbo? Like, I was looking pretty wistfully at that goat. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been soulblazer. Thank you so much for letting me share this game with you. I'm glad I got the chance, and I'll see you in the next Let's Play. Shoutouts to Douglas Hopkins for sponsoring this video. If you liked the video and you want to see more, please tickle my thumb, leave a friendly comment, and ring my little bell.